And welcome back to Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain. This time I remembered the title and heading towards Ottmar's court with the dollmaker's doll. Although the reception for a pallid vampire is not that friendly, but...
I entered the court with the dollmaker's head in one hand and the doll containing the girl's soul in the other. I placed them both before the king and watched his eyes catch fire. With the doll in their possession, the court's sorcerers could restore his daughter's soul.
I do not know that I can thank you enough, warrior. My kingdom is but a small price to pay for my daughter's life. Willendorf is yours if you wish it.
'Tis not your kingdom I desire, but your army, Ottmar. I require troops to vanquish the horde that descends upon us from the north.
Very well. Courtiers, fetch me my armor and mace. There is war to be waged!
The scourge of Nosgoth is upon us, friends. We shall die today as heroes, lest we live tomorrow as slaves. Ready thine arms for Nosgoth!
In the distance I saw the Nemesis armies march forward, a black tide that would soon wash over the armies of hope.
And the game has just went past the point of no return. No way to return to any other location in Nosgoth, as platform has become unavailable. So, King Ottmar got into fighting mood thanks to Kain's little favor. So it's now, well, it's the only remaining any kind of army left in Nosgoth. So, and they are fighting a big, violent, brutal scene.
In throngs. No fervor as strong as that inspired by a madman. The Nemesis armies were fierce and showed no signs of subsiding.
And King Ottmar himself is at the battleground. Guy certainly knows how to lead. And Kain feeds on everyone.
The Nemesis and his horde fall upon us, my friend. I fear I can defend Nosgoth no longer. The Nemesis must be destroyed. For my daughter Kain. For the world.
The tide turned with Ottmar's death. I watched as the remaining survivors of the armies of hope fled to the safety of the forest. The battle had decided its victor. The fate of Nosgoth now lay in the Nemesis' hands.
And thus, the last civil organized society of Nosgoth was annihilated.
I sated my thirst on warriors of horde and hope alike, the dying relinquishing their final moments to give me strength.
Oh yep, that's Kain's policy. But things are bad, so it's only chance and no way to retreat, so because Kain was cut off behind, so it's time to head north. And I got hacked apart because of enemy ambush, but that's not no big deal, thanks to Hearts of Darkness. Kain possesses in big numbers. And I would say that this kind of, you could say, downfall or destruction of organized societies is something like a symptom.
At once the battlefield was gone. Where the ground was caked with blood and dirt, there was lush greenery. Where chaos reigned only moments before, this damning calm prevailed. Alas, it seemed I was stranded here. The time-streaming device lay in pieces at my feet.
But now I would be wondering, did Kain use the device
Would you stand idle as vermin destroy your crops? No! As your house burns? No! Will you allow this evil to continue? No! Will the wickedness end? Yes! Do you believe? Yes! Then take me to your king so that I can prepare you for the onslaught.
Well, that guy looked familiar, but there's been a long, but something is about to happen, and some free lunches thanks to Chaos Armor, which is almost ludicrously, well, it is ludicrously effective, especially when combined with the repel. Just walk through the perils and nothing, and well, some things can hurt you, but physical attacks just shrug off. But once again, Kain, it's another city. That's the...
Help us get rid of those vampires. A hunting party begins tonight.
Oh, a hunting.
Taxes are down, spirits are up. Welcome, stranger, to the most prosperous land in all of Nosgoth.
Ah, this city doesn't look like it would be an occupied hellscape, so things have happened. Or Kain must be somewhere else. Well, presence of extra special items is of course always welcome. So now to head north and see what's going on. And even now, Kain can't just fly anywhere else. And this statue, it looks now to be unfinished.
So it seemed I was in the land of William the Just. 50 years before the battle I had just escaped would take place.
Well, that would make it very quite. So those guys apparently are soldiers of William the Just. And Kain, being quite of a bloodthirsty and callous, just let's say he got himself a very simple plan right into his head. Of the so-called change the history kind of plan. Or something like prevent something from happening by stopping it in the past. This building was empty. I didn't like it to be empty. I wanted that there would be some sort of treasure or loot. But still traveling northwards towards the keep of William the Just. So just putting on the disguise, which apparently does diddly squat and walk just right past them.
The stronghold of William the Just. It was time for me to pay a visit to he who would become the nemesis and force Nosgoth on its knees.
Well, yeah. Simple plan, but let's hope it doesn't have any kind of cause any kind of unpleasant consequences. So let's just save, as this point of no return has already been passed. So once again, this is a big quite big castle, and presence of hostile troops could be actually, you could say, understood, because well, Kain is at the location when it was supposed to be active in use. So just open the switch and get through the door. But why would this place have all these spike traps, spike floors and all that kind of perils is... Go get screamed to death. I would say that it would be quite inconvenient for any real use to have all these massive traps and death obstacles around. And that would have been a bit of hazy looking thing. So there's a big room, just walk around it, circle it. Yeah, just out of my way. And be killed, and just get through the spiky wall spike things before the repel wears off. Simple navigational hazard puzzle. And of course avoid the spinny sword traps. Still quite strange that there isn't any, you could say, environmental hazards that cause that work against enemies. Yeah, top up the health.
Yes, these weapons you provided will see to that. Pray tell, Mobius, what game do you play?
None, my lord. I only wish to aid you in vanquishing your foes. The weapons are but a token of my goodwill.
And the news you bring, a vampire sent to slay me. Where did you come upon such knowledge?
'Tis of no consequence, sire. It was only out of concern for your majesty's life.
Perhaps. Very well then. You may leave me now, but should I wish to speak to you?
I will know, your majesty, and I shall be there in time.
And Tony J gave voice to William the Just, who should be something like a quite very young king at this phase. And I say that despite acting being good, because Tony J was a very seasoned professional of his craft, the voice really did not fit to a young person, even for somebody would have very deep voice. So I would say that too, but of course knowing that the games in this era were made with very usually much, well, even big budget games of this era were made with much smaller scale and budget than nowadays. So, and which also applies to the actors cast. So, and of course because voice actors quite often do several roles in the story. In this case I would say that it was a bad choice to use Tony J as voice of William the Just. But this is also one of these rooms that so much all kinds of so put on just the basics. Just walk right past all these spiky, spinny obstacle traps. And also the fact that now we heard about this, the extra, the member of the circle or Mobius must be here as well. And he had a very, you could say, familiar appearance. Open sesame. And a grand room with a map of Nosgoth in it, and some swords and all that kind of signs of indicate things going along. So let's just put on the pentalich. And there's a saving spot, which of course you could say, and a path forward, which you could say is quite ominous. And there will be created a little bit something like, let's say, a little wonky trick of continuity is about to be performed, or better say, bit wonkiness of storytelling is gonna be performed.
Ah, yes, the vampire. Mobius told me he would come.
Yes, a boss fight against William the Just, who has a sword which screams just like Soul Reaver, which means he is armed with Soul Reaver as well. But using the quite simple method of repel to keep the damage away, and just hacking away does the damage. And once again, repeat the repel and
As his guards rushed to save him, William the Just's blood was already renewing my strength, replacing the life his sword had stolen from my veins. The poor fools, come to aid their fallen leader. Let us have some amusement.
well, it doesn't happen because those guards were already killed by the pentalich. But there's another time streaming device.
When coincidence seems too convenient, I prefer to call it fate.
So, a little bit of time traveling to the past. to alter the present. And apparently the place has become more or less abandoned, but judging by this thing. But why was time streaming device left in here? Was it Mobius who left it or something else? Life upgrade which doesn't work anymore.
With William the Just dead, Mobius's plans have been thwarted. His pawn was removed from the game.
Oh yeah. But now it seems that the Kain is actually happened to trap himself in the derelict remains of Nemesis's castle or remnants or however you want to call it. But William the Just is no more. His life ended 50 years before it even should become a big mess. But ghosts of those of his former henchmen still haunt the place. And there seems to be some kind of other folks with torches running around here as well, but those should be quite much of no consequence. They don't seem to be much of a soldiers, but more like armed peasants. Although they did do quite a hefty amount of damage. Well, they are endgame enemies, so them being quite powerful in that sense is not unexpected. Alright, that's place I can't get through. Oh yeah, but there was a switch. Of course. But in these narrow corridors it becomes kind of unpleasant to continue fighting. And this room, well, it contains hearts of darkness, but they aren't that necessary at this phase. And those guys seem to are not, well, much more in the sense that they're more brave than sense. But luckily all the spinning blade traps seem to have been gone out of action, so yeah, just doing the finishing move just because of amusement. Still just trying to get out of the place and see what's going on. But that was just a little side trick I had to do. Feeding on you. And in this place present some of these ghosts of the Williams troops and water puddles as well. To show that where to go, so let's just bring out the mist form. just to make sure that I can actually get through the location with less hassle. And luckily the mist form gives that immunity to damage or attacks as well, except magical attacks of course, because that would be kind of necessary. But of course its main use of mist form is just as a way to navigate that kind of environmental hazards. Yep, start screaming in your death. But the place is quite much and of course suspiciously generous thing about items. So let's just gonna save and end this episode in which, well, Kain just changed history. I'll be seeing you next time. See ya.